It's a massive game here at the bottom of the Premier League at Bramall Lane. It's Sheffield United, who are already relegated, versus Nottingham Forest, out of the bottom three, just on goal difference. It's the Premier League. It's live here on Talksport 2, and Mickey Gray is alongside your match commentator, Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon once again. We had Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers pitchside before kick-off here. Of course, it is May the 4th, but the Empire arrived too late here to try and save Sheffield United following their relegation last week. Nottingham Forest, of course, still have the end of their season clouded by uncertainty. They have work to do on the field, and they are still waiting to see how many points, if any, they get back from their appeal, having had 4 points deducted by the Premier League for financial irregularities. And it's noticeable that the Forest fans booed the Premier League anthem before kick-off here, and that has been a common theme for them in recent weeks. A reminder of the two sides once again. One change for Sheffield United: Mason Holgate dropping out, Jack Robinson coming in, Foderingham in goal, Robinson, Trustin, Ahmed Hodzic, the back three, Bogle, Brooks, Hamer and Arblaster across midfield, with Osborne supporting Brereton, Diaz and Archer in attack. For Forest, there is no Nico Williams. Moussa Diakate is on the bench. Gonzalo Montiel and Ryan Yates return to the team. So it's Sells in goal. Montiel, Barillo and Bowley and Aina will be the back four, with Yates sitting just in front of them with Danilo. Morgan Gibbs-White, of course, will be their captain and their main creative inspiration. The pace of Anthony Elanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi in support of Chris Wood in attack. Chris Kavanagh is our referee on a grey but mild afternoon here in the city of Sheffield, and it's the Blades, already relegated, who will get the match underway in their red and white stripes, attacking the goal away to our left in the first half, which has a sellout contingent from Nottingham, but there are plenty of empty red seats elsewhere around Bramall Lane. Many Sheffield United fans voting with their feet, with relegation already assured. But Nottingham Forest still have so much to play for, and 3 points here at Bramall Lane, where only the away team ever seems to enjoy a victory, would be crucial for Nuno's side today, as Forest try and build right from the start. Cameron Archer has been fouled by Yates, and it will be a free kick for Sheffield United. And Mickey Gray, really, it's all on Forest here today.
Yes, it certainly is, Nigel. Good afternoon to you. Look, you've got a side out there playing for pride, and you've got another side playing for their lives. And you're right, it's all about Nottingham Forest, and they need a bright start in this game. The tempo's got to be high. They look as if they want to get themselves on the front foot, but Sheffield United will certainly ask questions this afternoon in front of the home fans.
Harmer over the free kick in towards the former Forest man. Brereton Diaz at the near post. Over him, but it's cleared away. Quickly returning into the penalty area from Harmer. He may get a third effort down the right-hand side, but it's cut out by Yates. One back briefly on the edge of the penalty area by Arblaster, and now wide towards this near side again. And the cross from Osborne, another former Forest player, is cleared away at the near post, and Forest now will get the opportunity to break with Gibbs-White, who does well to ride the challenge of Osborne on this near side. The early cross into the penalty area, finding Wood, and he side foots it wide. I think many of the Forest fans thought that had gone in, and really Wood should have scored and given Forest the perfect start.
My goodness, what a start and what a break from Nottingham Forest. You're right to mention the pace that they've got up front, Nigel. Forest certainly on those flanks, but Gibbs-White coming back to Sheffield United just drives into this opposition's half. He puts a great ball in to Chris Wood, and we saw those chances he missed last time out against Manchester City. Well, you have to put that on the list. I think he should score there. It's a great opportunity.
But Sheffield United, who've conceded 97 goals this season, 51 here, and Forest will believe they should have added to that tally here in the opening minute, as working hard on this near side is Andre Brooks to win it back. One of the youngsters who will have a role to play here in the Championship next season, you feel. Now Yates brings it forward for Forest on this near side. He was sent off in Forest's previous Championship visit here. Back towards the heart of their back four. And they've got two very powerful figures there today in Bowley and Murillo, with Yates sitting just in front of them. As Aina tries to bring it forward on the far side, but in the end he will go back to Murillo. Left-footed ball from him, looking for Wood, who does well to win the ball in the air, but then he loses out to Robinson, who is able to play it all the way back to Foderingham. And now Anton Trusty, the American international, signed from Arsenal, formerly with Birmingham City on loan. They were relegated earlier on today despite winning. All four of the teams in danger at the bottom of the championship all enjoyed a win on the final day, which meant Birmingham were the team who started the day in the bottom three and stayed there. Sheffield Wednesday, one of the sides who survived, as Ahmed Hodzic driving forward now for Sheffield United, right at the heart of the Forest defence. He goes down on the edge of the penalty area, quickly picked up by Osborne, and now an opportunity for Harmer, laid back towards Brooks on the edge of the box, but he was quickly robbed by Alanga, but only briefly.
Well, absolutely brilliant from Ahmed Hodzic. The run from his own half towards the edge of the 18-yard box, and I think he deserved a foul. I'm sure there was contact, but when it did eventually fall to Gustavo Hamer, when he cut in inside that 18-yard box, can he take the shot on? Yes, it's his weaker left foot. Tries to play that simple pass in the 18-yard box. That gets cut out. And that's where Sheffield United have got to be a bit more clinical.
Now Brereton Diaz, with the shock of dark hair flowing over his shoulders, brings it forward on the far side, but loses out, and then Danilo has been fouled, and it will be a free kick here for Nottingham Forest with 4 minutes played on Talksport 2, and it's Sheffield United 0, Nottingham Forest 0. A reminder of the details in the Championship on the final day. Ipswich winning, so they are up along with Leicester. Congratulations to them. Leeds lost anyway, and they're in the playoffs, where Daniel Farke will meet his former side Norwich in the semi-finals. Southampton, who won at Leeds, will play West Brom. Birmingham, Huddersfield and Rotherham relegated. Sheffield Wednesday have survived, so the Sheffield derby will be back on the fixture list next season. And noticeably, when the Championship scores were given out here before kick-off, Sheffield United's name weren't mentioned. They just said Sunderland lost 2-0.
Yeah, the rivalry between the two clubs, Nigel, as I well know, I was Sheffield Wednesday. It's so intense, it's absolutely crazy.
Now Bogle coming forward on the far side for Sheffield Wednesday. He's challenged by Danilo, and Gibbs White, who gets boos from the home crowd, who remember his loan spell here, which was fairly successful a couple of years ago when Forest eventually beat Sheffield United in the playoff semi-finals. They don't have a good record here, only 2 wins in their last 18 trips in the league, but they did win on their last visit in the playoff semi-finals back in 2022, when Brennan Johnson scored what turned out to be the winning goal. Sheffield United then beat them at the City Ground, and eventually it went down to a penalty shootout, and Forest went all the way to the Premier League under Steve Cooper.
Yeah, incredible season that, wasn't it? And I believe Morgan Gibbs-White, did he miss a penalty, was it, in the playoff as well, Nige?
Yeah, but he got 12 goals and 10 assists in that season.
Yeah, he was the shining light. I mean, he's got so much talent, and I think he's brought his talent to the Premier League. I really do. I think, you know, albeit you look where Nottingham Forest are in the league at the moment, I think he has an outstanding season, and there'll be certainly a lot of onlookers. And whether he's going to be a Forest player next season, I'm sure they'll hate me saying that, but I just think he's been that good.
Well, they're outside the relegation zone at the moment on goal difference, following that draw for Luton against Everton live on Talksport last night. Both have 26 points. Burnley, who are at home to Newcastle today, have 24. And of course Sheffield United are down. They have 16 points. And 11 games without a win since enjoying a victory at Luton, and only 1 clean sheet all season, as a cross is delivered from the far side, aimed towards Anthony Alanga at the far post, but beyond him, and it will be a goal kick with 7 minutes played here on Talksport 2, and it's still goalless at Bramall Lane.
Well, what's great to the start of the game is it's an open game of football. You've got two sides in front of us that are really going for it. Fantastic opportunity for Chris Wood very early on in the game, and then Sheffield United certainly taking the game to Nottingham Forest. But I've got a problem with Sheffield United now. They defend so deep, and you can see it's so easy to put that ball in the box. And when you've got somebody like Chris Wood, his aerial ability, you just see he's going to get chances, more chances in this game. And you feel that Sheffield United, if they're going to get anything from this game, they're going to have to score more than one goal.
And Forest looking to build now. Robinson, though, heads it away. Another former Forest player, but the ball will drift out on this near side for a Blades throw. And you're listening to Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest on Talksport 2 with Now. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Manchester City against Wolves, live today, contract free with a Now membership. Search Now Sports. Brereton Diaz coming forward now for Sheffield United. Wide towards Osborne on this near side. His low cross is deflected by Yates, who's now under pressure, and it's two former Forest players who are causing problems for him. Yates goes down under the challenge of Brereton Diaz. No free kick given, and now Andre Brooks, the 20-year-old for Sheffield United, on this near side there left. 8.5 minutes played here, and it's Sheffield United 0, Nottingham Forest 0. The Blades are down, but Forest still in need of points, irrespective of what happened to their appeal against the 4-point deduction.
Well, I've got to say, so far, Chris Kavanagh, the referee, is letting everything go. Any 50-50 challenges.
Now Robinson coming forward now for Sheffield United, drives into the area. His shot, though, has been blocked, and it's cleared away on this near side, but recovered well by Ben Osborne. Maybe he's preparing Sheffield United for life in the Championship again next season.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I love the intent. Absolutely fantastic. Working hard to win his side the ball back as quick as they possibly can. As soon as they lose it, there's a reaction from the players, and it's easy to down tool, Nigel, when you know what your situation is. You're already relegated, but these Sheffield United players, full credit so far, they're at it.
Now Brereton Diaz wide towards the far side again, and Ahmed Hodzic. Brereton Diaz coming very deep, of course. Really came through at Nottingham Forest as a 17-year-old. I remember him effectively retiring Per Mertesacker in an FA Cup tie a few years ago when Forest beat Arsenal in the third round, and I don't think Mertesacker played again. But he's developed into a decent goal scorer, showed that with Blackburn Rovers last season, but went to Villarreal and has not scored a goal in Spain yet.
Yeah, it was a shame for him, wasn't it? I think it was the move he wanted. It, the season prior to that, he was outstanding for Blackburn. His work ethic will never change. I think that's just in his DNA, and when the goals start to come, he looks a fabulous player, doesn't he? I think he's been a real asset since he walked through the door at Sheffield United, and moving forward, without a doubt, he can only help the situation.
Does have 5 goals, though you wonder with the financial implications of relegation again, and the overall finances of the club, which aren't great irrespective of which division they're in, what sort of budget Chris Wilder will have for next season.
Well, from the chats that he has with the TV people and the media and stuff, I think that he wants a lot of changes, Nigel, at this club, doesn't he?
Well, I think they will happen anyway. They've got 17 players either out of contract or out on loan, as there's an aerial duel with Trusty and Montiel on this near side, and it's Montiel who has gone down and stayed down, and because it's a head injury, Chris Kavanagh will call for medical treatment.
Yeah, just one of them unfortunate comings together, wasn't it? No malice in the challenge at all. Austin Trusty just clearing his lines, does really well, but then the contact came after he'd made that header out to his left hand side, and Montiel is holding on to his face. We hope he's okay. I think everybody's doing the right thing. The medical staff are on the pitch now, just making sure that he's going to be okay, and fingers crossed he gets himself back to his feet. But really good start to the game, I have to say. First 10-11 minutes of the game, intensity is certainly there from both sides looking to go and win the football match.
Well, they're just going through the concussion protocols with Gonzalo Montiel. No goals elsewhere in the Premier League at Brentford or Burnley. A reminder earlier on Talksport, Arsenal beating Bournemouth by 3-0. Adrian Durham has all the goals as they go in from England and Scotland over on Talksport. Here on Talksport 2 at 7:45. The playoffs continue. Oxford against Peterborough. The League One semi-final first leg with Alex Crook and Sam Parkin. I was just up the M1 at Oakwell last night to see Bolton beat Barnsley in the other half of that playoff semi-final, and we have a double header of Women's Super League action tomorrow, Manchester City against Arsenal, followed by Chelsea against Bristol City. 2:15 kick-off in Manchester, 6:45 kick-off in West London. At the moment, it looks like Manchester City's title and Emma Hayes will be leaving with nothing. And the situation at the moment in the Super League is that Manchester City are 6 points clear and the games are running out, and the title could be decided this weekend.
Incredible, isn't it, when they were on for a quadruple, I think, this year as well, Nigel, weren't they? And it's just slipped away. It just
shows, rather like Liverpool, when the manager who's been there for a long time says they're off, it can maybe just cause one or two things in the mind.
No, absolutely, detrimental effect. You know, players sometimes can switch off a little bit, and in Liverpool and Chelsea's case, I suppose you could maybe say that's what's happened.
And Frank Kirby's already said she will be leaving Chelsea at the end of the season, and she's been a mainstay for Emma Hayes from the moment she was signed from Reading. But WSL action coming up tomorrow on Talksport 2, and then on Monday we have both of the League 2 playoff semi-final first legs, as Montiel comes forward now for Forest, back towards Gibbs White. 13 minutes played here, no goals at Bramall Lane. Montiel comes in field, almost pokes it through to Alanga, who was slightly off balance, and it's gathered by Wes Fodringham. 1 clean sheet in 27 games for him, 72 conceded.
And you look at the clean sheets from both of these sides, Nigel, as well. When you think, you know, it's going to be a battle throughout the whole of the season, you have to try and keep that ball out the back of your net. I mean, 97 goals Sheffield United have conceded this season, 51 at home. It's just too many.
But they're coming forward now. Brereton Diaz inside the penalty area. He's been fouled by Montiel, has he? And the referee has had a think and has given a penalty. Well, Ben Brereton Diaz, the former Forest man, with an energetic break into the penalty area, taken out by Montiel. Chris Kavanagh gave himself a moment and then pointed to the spot.
Well, in my eyes, I think it's the right call. Again, it's Sheffield United on the break. It's brilliant play, I have to say, from Brereton Diaz. Very clever just to flick that ball around the outside of Montiel, and he just takes the hit. And once there's contact in that 18-yard box, what is Montiel going to ground in his own 18-yard box? I do not know. He makes Brereton Diaz's mind up. I'm just going to flick the ball around you. There's going to be contact, and I think Chris Kavanagh's got this one absolutely spot on.
Well, you could say that Brereton Diaz waited for the contact, but the contact was right there in front of him at his feet. All he had to do was keep on running. They're checking it, of course. Michael Salisbury is the VAR, and the Forest players were quick to surround Chris Kavanagh. But it's a penalty for Sheffield United, and the check is over, and Ben Brereton Diaz will take it, the former Forest youngster. And now Montiel is complaining the ball has not been spotted up correctly, and he's ushered out of the penalty area by a couple of Sheffield United players, and he's been shown the yellow card as well. And the Forest fans behind that goal, who used to adore Ben Brereton Diaz, are now watching him take a penalty in the relegation fight in the Premier League against their team. This is a huge moment for Nottingham Forest. Matt Sells, plenty of movement from him on the goal line. Brereton Diaz steps up, right-footed, makes no mistake. Well, Sheffield United may be relegated already, but they've made a fast start here at Bramall Lane, and Nottingham Forest, the team also in peril, are a goal down thanks to one of their former old boys, Ben Brereton Diaz. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Well, how cool do you want to be from the penalty spot? Only 15-16 minutes on the clock, but Brereton Diaz, he just looked confident as soon as he picked that ball up and then put it onto the penalty spot. It's a super finish, and it's a great start for the home side, I have to say. And I just wonder what they're thinking down the road at Turf Moor, Nigel, at the moment. Can they get something? Because this is not going to plan. Nottingham Forest find themselves a goal behind. They had that big chance in the first minute, but Sheffield United have made them pay for it.
And there's some irony to former Blackburn player who could be giving Burnley a massive helping hand.
Yeah, Yeah, I don't think Ben Burton Diaz is actually thinking about that right now. He just wants to add to his tally, doesn't he? But it's been a really great start to the game, I have to say. Really open game of football. I said Sheffield United might need to score more than one goal to win this game. I'm going to stick by that, Nige. But excellent, brilliant finish, and rightly so. 100% it was a penalty. Montiel, he had that little head collision, didn't he? And I don't think he recovered from that. He was still frustrated. Why he was going to ground in his own 18-yard box. He made Brereton Diaz the dishes it up for him, just flicked the ball around him, made contact with him. It was always going to be a penalty.
And Forest's record when conceding first in the Premier League this season: 1 win, 5 draws and 15 defeats. The only occasion in which they've come from behind was at Newcastle, their last away win on Boxing Day.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great reading, isn't it? You know, it's something that they've got to try and put to the back of their minds, because, you know, we talk about them games that they've got left after this night. Chelsea up next and Burnley last day of the season. And I said, you know, Turf Moor at the moment will be absolutely rocking. They've got a tough one against Newcastle, there's no doubt about that, but this will filter down to their stadium and the roar will be electric.
But the atmosphere has been lifted here. There are so many empty seats, but Sheffield United coming forward again now. Cameron Archer into the penalty area. Brilliant challenge by Murillo. Goal-saving challenge. He's taken out his goalkeeper. Matt Sells is down injured. Murillo also has a problem. But Forest here are absolutely wide open. And Sheffield United, the worst team in the Premier League for many years, are having a field day.
Well, I've got to say, defensively, Nottingham Forest, they look all over the place, as if they've just gone out for a jolly up. But the run from Archer, the pace that he showed to get in behind them, absolutely brilliant. But I've got to give credit to Murillo. That's an outstanding challenge. Last man, he's got to time it perfectly. He does so, but in the consequence of that, he challenges his goalkeeper, who now finds himself in distress. He's on the ground. What else is going to happen in this game?
Wow. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 0. And Matt Sells, Forest goalkeeper, is flat out inside the penalty area, having been clattered by Murillo. And Murillo is a fairly thick-set customer. I would imagine when he collides with you, you'd feel it.
Well, I think also as well, Nigel, Murillo's going back towards his goal, so the contact, he's going to feel the full contact and the full force of that challenge. All he's thinking about, Murillo, is just winning that ball, but the momentum after he's cleared his lines has took him into his goalkeeper Sells, and he would have felt that, there's no doubt about it. Look, I think he's going to be okay. He's sat up now, but this is a really poor start. When you think about what's online for Nottingham Forest at the moment, they look as if they're really nervy at the back. Well, if you are, get the ball to your forward players, the ones who've got the pace, and get yourself back on level terms, and then see where the game takes you. But nothing away from Sheffield United. Their approach to this game's been absolutely top class so far.
Since they came back up, Forest, it's 3 wins in 36 away games. But they are playing Sheffield United, who've had 6 defeats by at least 5 goals. They've conceded twice in their last 9 games. They've let in 97 this season, but at the moment they could be 3 up.
Yeah, absolutely. They've had some brilliant opportunities. You know, I talked about the Gustavo Hamer should have had a shot when he tried to play inside the 18-yard box. The Archer opportunity just moments ago. But then the penalty as well. You cannot keep making these silly schoolboy errors in my book, because as a defender, and experienced defenders, which they have got, those players must know that you've got to stay on your feet. I mean, Montiel, he's just came back into the starting 11. Surely you get into the starting 11, you want to impress your manager. Silly mistakes in the opposition's half. A stupid mistake giving a penalty away. He's all over the place.
Burnley 0, Newcastle 1. Callum Wilson with the opening goal at Turf Moor. So at the moment, it is as you were at the bottom. Forest 26. Luton 26, of course they played last night. Burnley 24.
It's incredible, isn't it? You would think, you know, the sides at the bottom of the table, seeing that result from Luton last night, it would have spurred them on and given them that little bit of a boost. But first 15-20 minutes of today's play in the Premier League, absolutely incredible. 2 sides that really need a win, and they find themselves a goal behind.
And only Swindon have conceded more than Sheffield United. They conceded 100 in a 42-game season back in 93-94. Leicester were the last team to concede more than Sheffield United in a 38-game season. That was in 1909, and when they went down in 2021 they were pretty poor, but already they conceded 34 fewer that season than they have done during this campaign.
It's just incredible, isn't it, Nigel? I mean, certainly in front of your home fans, look, they've conceded 51 goals, Sheffield United. It's just too many. You know, you've got to start, you know, from the foundations. If you're going to have a decent season in the Premier League, you cannot concede goals. And you know, that little bit of pride will say to yourself, look, we've got 3 games left. Let's try and keep it below 100.
It's a fairly low bar you're setting.
I suppose
but no,
so.
I know what you mean, exactly. You've got to start somewhere for next season as well.
Of course you have.
And, you know, I don't think Sheffield United ever gave themselves a chance this season. When you sell your best players from the Championship, people like Njai and Sander Berge, you sell Sander Berge to one of your relegation rivals, what do you expect? But here is Brereton Diaz coming forward again. Just has to check back, but he's got support from Brooks. And there's an eagerness about Sheffield United here. Maybe they've got a point to prove this afternoon, belatedly, but they owe the fans big time.
Well, what you can do, Nigel, in the games remaining, you can give yourself that little bit of confidence going into the summer break, which is going to spur you on in the Championship to get off to a good start, because everybody will want to try and beat a side that's just come down from the Premier League next season. They'll know that. Chris Wilder will certainly know that. Look, there's going to be a lot of changes. I think we know that personnel-wise. Players leaving this club, players coming in. But the ones who do, they've got to hit the ground running.
Brereton Diaz almost played through again by Gustavo Harmer, but it's cut out. Forest will try and break forward now in the sunshine with Gibbs White. Now Wood inside the penalty area, turning away from Trusty, but is held up by Ahmed Hodzic. Hudson-Odoi down the left, infield towards Danilo. Right foot shot from him is deflected and loops over the crossbar, and Forest have a corner with 24 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Sheffield United leading by a goal to nil.
Well, I don't know about you, Nigel, but as that move was playing out there, Morgan Gibbs-White again involved in it. He's played in Chris Wood down the left-hand side of the 18-yard box. I think a confident striker, which he actually should be, takes that on first time with his weaker left foot. He's tried to get it onto his stronger right foot. The opportunity then goes. You've got to get your shots away if you're a striker. Even if you miss the target, take the shot on.
Corner kick on this near side, taken by Danilo in towards the near post, and flying in was Ryan Yates, and all he can do is bullet the header into the cop behind that goal. Currently Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 0. For the latest odds, head to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport's 2's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Sheffield United at 7-5, Forest 7-4, the draw 12-5. All thanks to William Hill. Get epic value all season with William Hill. 18+, begambleaware.org. 25 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Burnley are losing and Forest are losing in the Premier League at the moment, on a day that Ipswich have confirmed their promotion back to the Premier League, and Birmingham City have been relegated from the Championship. Now Montiel coming forward on this near side for Nottingham Forest, has support infield from Gibbs White. Ryan Yates takes over once again, the Nottingham-born academy player in this Forest team, but it's been given away once again by Forest. And on the break, Sheffield United look hungry. Archer and Brereton Diaz are chasing everything down, and Chris Wilder applauding their endeavour.
Yeah, superb. Exactly what you want from your strikers. Archer this occasion.
But here's an opportunity for Hudson-Odoi. He comes in field and strikes a wonderful equaliser. Right-footed, curls the ball in brilliantly beyond Foderingham. And Nottingham Forest, who've had such a torrid start to this game, come up with a crucial goal in the relegation battle. From Callum Hudson-Odoi, it is Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Oh, it's a brilliant finish. I mean, it's come out of nothing, let's be honest with you. Talked about Archer working hard as a striker, but when that ball comes into their half, Sheffield United, it plays out to that left-hand side, and that is an absolutely top-class finish from Callum Hudson-Odoi. Look, it's bouncing in front of him. It's not simple, but he keeps it low. He gets enough pace on it, and he gives Foderingham absolutely no chance in that Sheffield United goal. What an equaliser.
A red smoke bomb billowing away from the Forest fans in the Bramall Lane end stand away to our left-hand side. There'll be some relief in those celebrations as well. 1-1 after 27 minutes in which they have been second best all over the field. Could have been at least 2-0 down, but now they have come up with a goal. And usually in this sort of situation, Sheffield United fold quite quickly.
Well, Nigel, I hate to say it, but that's 98 and counting for Sheffield United. But it's just naivety, isn't it? When you can see how easy they got played through in that midfield area and how easy it is to play it out to the wide players. The players who've got the pace. We know Hudson-Odoi, he's going to try and work that ball back onto his right foot. He didn't have to do a lot. He just little cut inside onto his right foot. Yes, it was bouncing in front of him, perfect height, but it's a fantastic finish.
Now Brooks for Sheffield United on this near side, the left. Always busy finding Archer. Slid forward towards the edge of the penalty area, and Brooks could be in there again, but the clearance comes in the nick of time. Arblaster tries to keep the move going, but Forest win it back, but then they've lost it again. But Bogle, who has come in field, is being crowded out, and Forest now will try and break. And when they do break, they've got the pace of Hudson-Odoi and Elanga, but they've barely used it so far.
Yeah, they've got to try and get the ball out to these wide areas, Nottingham Forest, as quick as they possibly can, because that's the threat, and that's where they're going to win the game from today. You can see it a mile off. Well, you just hope that goal just settled them down a little bit more composure. And Gibbs White's got to get himself involved and get on the ball a lot more than what we've seen so far, and I'm sure he will do as the game goes on.
And another opportunity for a set piece goes for Sheffield United. Only a single one this season here against Brentford back in December. Yates comes forward now for Forest again, wide to Montiel on this near side, the right. Plays the 1-2 with Elanga, hits the byline. Montiel, did he carry the ball behind? Not according to the assistant. Here is Yates looking to win a corner, but Osborne will nip in and clear for Sheffield United, but it's quickly recovered by Bowley. Elanga on the edge of the penalty area, back towards Gibbs White, and now square to Aina, the former Chelsea youngster. Another one of those. Hudson-Odoi came up with the equaliser. He's on the ball again now, looking to take on Bogle on the far side, back towards Danilo. And his clip ball into the area with the outside of the right boot is cut out initially by Ahmed Hodzic and then cleared away by Bogle. Half an hour played here at Bramall Lane. We promise you goals, and already it's 1-1.
No, you certainly can't complain about Nottingham Forest and the possession that they're having. It's just the areas that they need to get the ball in. They need to move it a little bit quicker when they do get into that final third, and you can see now the Sheffield United line starting to drop a little bit deep, and they're trying to catch Forest on the counter.
Here is Robinson for Sheffield United on the halfway line, wide to this near side, the left, and Osborne. Archer tries to flick it in field for Brooks, but he didn't read that, and it's quickly intercepted by Yates. And now Aina on the far side, wide towards Hudson-Odoi, plays it back and then looks to spin in behind, but Bogle had blocked off that route down the line, left-hand side for Forest. But now it's pinged forward by Murillo, looking for Elanga on this near side, who for a moment was goal side of Osborne, but Osborne has now recovered and Elanga knocked it straight out of play.
Yeah, I've been disappointed in Anthony Elanga so far. His quality hasn't been there. Just a simple little pass to his full-back, gives the ball away, puts it out of play. I want to see him turning, going the other way and getting in a 1v1 situation like we've seen from Hudson-Odoi. There's Nottingham Forest, you know, say they've settled down, but they still at times look really nervy when Sheffield United win the ball back in good areas.
Montiel forward now towards Gibbs White. But Robinson will cut it out. And now Osborne with a good ball to pick out Brereton Diaz. Smartly wide to this near side and Archer. Brereton Diaz made the run down the centre, but the cross was cut out by Murillo. But Archer has it back again. Now Brooks in space on the edge of the penalty area onto the right foot, but he took an age to get the shot away. It was smothered by Bowley, but the Blades have it back again with Bogle. Looks to pick his way into the penalty area. Bogle with a deflected shot, and it's just wide and it's a corner. But Jayden Bogle, the former Derby man, almost came up with a goal against Forest.
Great pressure from Jayden Bogle. Great feet as well, I have to say, to work it onto his right foot. Just looking for that little half a yard. Keeps his head down, knows exactly what he wants to do. It's a fantastic defensive challenge eventually in the end. But also as well, Andre Brooks, how long do you want on the edge of the 18-yard box just to get your shot away?
Well, there was just a lack of conviction there from a player who's not scored this season.
You don't get that time in the Premier League, Nigel. You know, he's thinking, he's waiting. You can see what he's trying to do, but you have to get it out your feet.
Corner's played short to Arblaster. Now delivered high by Osborne into the penalty area. Nodded away, though, by Murillo, who leapt well. And it was Bowley who got the final touch, but it's again gone behind on this near side, and it will be another corner kick here for Sheffield United, who've responded well to conceding the equaliser. 32 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 1. And there's applause for the youngster, Ollie Arblaster, who has had the captain's armband at times this season, 19 years of age, born in Sheffield. And the two teams he's played for this season, Sheffield United and Port Vale, have both been relegated. It's a learning curve. The corner's played short towards Harmer, who fires in the shot right-footed, but he drags it wide of the near post.
Yeah, don't mind that. From Gustavo Hamer, nice little short corner, just mixing it up at times. You can't keep putting that ball in the box every single time. Just waiting on the edge of the 18-yard box, and we know he's got that wonderful right foot. Harmer normally likes to curl it into the top left-hand corner, goes for pace. This time just misses that near post. That's the type of thing that gets supporters on the edge of their seats.
A reminder, earlier on today on Talksport, Arsenal beat Bournemouth by 3-0. Here is Brereton Diaz turning smartly on the edge of the penalty area. Right foot shot is deflected, and he had Archer in all sorts of space to his right, but he went for goal, but it's scrambled behind for another corner.
Well, I've got to say that I actually think he does the right thing, Brereton Diaz, by taking the shot on, but he's got the whole goal to aim for. He's just got to wait for the challenge to come in at the edge of the box and then just skip it by him, and it's a 1v1 with the keeper, but he doesn't do it. And again, this time Murillo, yet again, right place, right time.
Corner kick from Harmer, high towards the far post. Ahmed Hodzic was challenging, and it's volleyed clear by Gibbs White. Forest have conceded 15 goals from corners this season. That's the worst in the Premier League, and they've looked vulnerable on a couple of occasions. Here is Harmer now from a long ball into the penalty area, but Montiel will guard it behind. And with 10 minutes to play in the first half here at Bramall Lane, it's still 1-1.
Well, it's a fantastic first half, I have to say. Both sides really at it. They're all having their moments in the game, but it's certainly Sheffield United over the last 5 or 6 minutes. After Nottingham Forest got themselves back on level terms, you can see the pressure that the home side are putting on them. They're using those forward players in the right areas. They're certainly eager to get themselves on the score sheet again. And there's no doubt, it's so open, this game of football. We cannot have seen the last goal.
So at the moment, Forest will be moving a point clear of Luton, and Burnley will remain 3 points behind them with a worse goal difference with 2 games to play. And of course, we still don't know when the appeal for Forest's points deduction, or the outcome of that appeal, will be revealed, and how many points they'll get back. And they've got to do it soon.
Well, I think they were talking about it being sorted out one way or another, nights before the last game of the season, which I think is the right thing to do, but it should have been done a long time ago.
Because it's not just Forest, it's the other teams around them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. No, I think it's something that I don't know if they could have sorted before the season started, but you think about sides at the bottom of the table who might just need a draw. It's certainly, going into the last game of the season, you do think about things as a player.
Well, Sean Longstaff has put Newcastle 2-up at Burnley, so it may all be academic in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a huge game for Burnley, and I'm really surprised that they've gone 2 goals. Look, Newcastle are a great side. We know that, and they've got goals in the team. But I think when you're fighting for your lives, you need more.
Archer now manages to nutmeg Willie Bowley, streaks into the penalty area, but sells at the near post, makes a smart save, and it's only a corner.
Well, take your shot, is what I'd say to Cameron Archer. He's done absolutely brilliant. Gets away from his marker. Lovely play to skip around Willie Bowley. Shows brilliant pace. But he takes 2 touches too many for my liking. He needs to get his head up. He needs to get his shot away. He makes it easy for Sells, who then comes off his line. Yes, he makes the save, but he shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. It should be 2-1.
But how easy is it for Brereton Diaz and Archer to open Forest up?
Well, we've said that all first half, haven't we? Their movement's been great. The back line in Nottingham Forest are all over the place. They look really shaky. Nice, they're getting away with one at the moment. Yes, they've got themselves back on level terms. You think of those chances Sheffield United have just had in this first half, could be out of sight.
Well, they've got a corner now, and there's a bus queue of Sheffield United players waiting for it. Forest, the weakest team when it comes to defending corners in the Premier League. Osborne flights in another one here towards the near post, but it's not cleared by Bowley. Headed square by Harmer now towards Arblaster, and now Osborne again. Arblaster will go square towards Bogle. First time cross into the penalty area. Not clear by Danilo, but it's smartly transferred wide to this near side by Harmer towards Trusty. Now Brooks will go square towards Harmer again. On the right foot, he hits it brilliantly, and the save is outstanding from Matt Sells, arching his back to tip that ball over the top. We know Gustavo Hamer can hit them, and he really did there, and the Forest goalkeeper is keeping his team alive.
Huge save from Matt Sells, but brilliant play from Gustavo Hamer. He knows exactly what he wants when he picks that ball up, just chops in onto his right foot, always going to take the shot on, gets a lot of pace behind it, but what a save that is.
Harmer with another in-swinging corner, high to the far post, not cleared by Gibbs-White. Headed back into the 6-yard area. Akman Hodzic will challenge for it, and in the end Archer from close range puts it over the top, and what a chance there for Cameron Archer. It seemed easier to put the ball under the bar than over it.
Well, I think if this was earlier on in the season, Nigel, I think Chris Wilder would have been going absolutely crazy with the chances that his side have missed in his first half. Cameron Archer, I mean, he's 3 yards out. He gets in, he just doesn't make good contact with the ball. He makes the run, he gets in behind his marker. Look, he has to score. How many times have I said that so far? But that has got to be a goal.
39 minutes played. It's 1-1, but it should be about 4-1 to Sheffield United here. As Forest try and come forward themselves now, but the ball through towards Wood is cut out by Robinson. But now Aina has got the opportunity to play it forward to Hudson-Odoi down the left-hand side. Hudson-Odoi will take on Bogle, but it's back again towards Gibbs-White. Square to Danilo on the edge of the penalty area. Now Montiel. Alanga, we've barely seen him look to go beyond his man, but he does so now. Hard ball into the penalty area, but it's cleared away at the far post by Bogle. You're listening to Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest on Talksport 2 at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, they've got a van.
Well, it's just been brilliant, hasn't it? And it's all been the pressure from Sheffield United over the last 7 or 8 minutes, but Nottingham Forest need some sustained pressure themselves. They've got to get themselves into better areas.
Still goalless, by the way, in the London derby between Brentford and Fulham. Very much the other game in the Premier League this afternoon, we have to say, in terms of relevance to the bottom of the table. Now Alanga plays it back towards Montiel. He was looking for Alanga to make the run in behind, but the Swede stayed where he was. But now he comes in field, tries to jab it down the line for Montiel, but it's overhit and it will be a goal kick.
Well, I don't know what Anthony Alanga's pointing at Ryan Yates there, saying he wants him to move somewhere. I don't know where he wanted him to move. If you're a wide player, you want as much space as you can possibly get. Use your pace, get in behind your fullback and whip balls into the box. His pass was the one that was overplayed and went out for a goal kick to Sheffield United, but I think that just boils down to frustration. They just cannot get the ball in the right areas, and they're just sustaining pressure at the moment from Sheffield United.
Bruno Guimaraes has made it 3-0 to Newcastle at Burnley, so the points look secured for Eddie Howe's team, and now they will have Spurs in their sights. 5th place in the table, and it's still goalless, as we said, between Brentford and Fulham. As Hudson-Odoi comes forward now, square towards Yates, and now wide towards Montiel down the right-hand side. He's got support from Gibbs-White. The crossing is a good one. The header from Wood is off the crossbar. The rebound from Hudson-Odoi is miskicked inside the area. It comes out to Danilo. He fires in the shot, and it's blocked by Bogle. It spins behind for a corner, but amidst all of those chances there for Sheffield United, Chris Wood thunders the header against the crossbar.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant chance, isn't it? Great play from Morgan Gibbs-White. I don't think he had room to put that ball into the box, but he picks out Wood. He just can't get high enough to keep it low enough below that crossbar. Great opportunity.
Corner kick on the far side for Forest. An in-swinger towards the near post. and in the end it seemed to strike the body of Osborne. It's cleared away down the line by Trusty. Harmer now with a crossfield ball from right to left to find Brooks. He's got Archer ahead of him. Brereton Diaz now in support. The ball wide to the right-hand side when all the options were to the left. It's over the head of Harmer, and it will be a throw into Nottingham Forest.
Well, initially it was a fantastic break from Sheffield United, but when it falls to Andre Brooks, you're right, Nigel, he had 3 or 4 players running, overlapping him down that left-hand side. He also had Brereton Diaz standing at the edge of the 18-yard box. He could have bounced the ball off him. He's trying to play the hardest ball, that diagonal over to the right-hand side. Didn't get it right at all, and you can hear the moans and groans.
2 minutes to play in what's been a lively first half, to say the least here. 1-1. Sheffield United creating and spurning so many chances, and Forest now looking to break again as Gibbs-White just unable to thread it through towards Alanga, who was away and clear there, and the high line from Sheffield United brutally exposed.
Yeah, they got away with one there. Gibbs-White just had too much space in front of him to get his head up to try and play that ball into Anthony Alanga. He made a great run. We know he's got the pace to get in behind, and that's where, as a centre-half, you have got to be on the ball.
Now Montiel
they were
on this near side, all the way back to Willy Bowley, making only his 3rd appearance of the calendar year. He did go to the AFCON with the Ivory Coast and has also had injury problems as well, as Archer brings the ball under his spell midway inside the Forest half. I think it was just clipped there by Bowley, but he stayed on his feet, and in the end the move breaks down for Sheffield United. Yeah,
it was good defending from Willy Bowley. You could see the overlap and run there from Brereton Diaz. Had to time his tackle right, and he certainly did so.
Into the final minute of added time in the first half here, or normal time I should say. Now Trusty finding Robertson, and he will go all the way back to Foderingham. And you think of the opportunities that Wood missed right at the start. He's also hit the bar. It could be 4-3 in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a brilliant first half, Nigel, I have to say, end to end. I expected it, 2 sides really going for it. As I mentioned, Sheffield United not really got nothing to play for but pride. But when you think Nottingham Forest, a win here, where would stand them going into those final 2 games of the season? You can understand why they're a little bit tense.
Now Gibbs-White, he goes down on the edge of the penalty area, appeals to Chris Kavanagh for a free kick, but nothing given. Gibbs-White is still down, clutching his left knee on the edge of the box, and there will be a minimum of 7 more minutes here. As the shot fired in again by Callum Hudson-Odoi, and this time Foderingham watches it go well wide.
Well, 7 minutes seems a lot, but when you think, I think it was Montiel went down with a bit of a head injury, and also Sells, the challenge from Murillo.
And there was the VAR check for the penalty.
Yeah, maybe understand that now, Nigel, why it is 7 minutes, but you don't want this first half to end, so the more the merrier, I have to say. I mean, it's been fantastic, and as you said, it could have been easily 4-3, and really, let's be honest with you, it should be 4-3. I think if you've got quality in those forward areas, centre forwards who know where the back of the net is on a regular basis, that's how many goals we should have seen.
Well, Sheffield United have not been clinical all season. Often they've played themselves out of games almost before they've started, but they took the lead here thanks to Ben Brereton Diaz, then pegged back by Callum Hudson-Odoi, and they've since missed not just half chances, clear-cut chances.
I mean, stonewallers, that need to find the back of the net. Brereton Diaz just wanted too much time to put the ball in the back of the net for his second opportunity, but Cameron Archer on 2 occasions, I mean, he has to score. There's no other way around it. And Chris Wood, maybe give him a little bit of doubt with the header. It was a little bit just above his head, but still had to work hard to hit the crossbar. But the one in the first minute, the left foot volley, a confident centre forward, that finds the back of the net.
Now Willy Bowley, square towards Murillo. And Forest here looking to build as we tick towards the second minute of 7 added on at the end of the first half here on Talksport 2, 1-1 at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United briefly ahead as Gibbs-White plays it back towards Murillo again, who's made a couple of crucial blocks in the midst of all of that pressure on Forest in the first half. Now Alanga, almost pulled down by Osborne, but he's strong enough to play it back towards Yates. And the record for Nuno has not been spectacular since he arrived. 16 points in 18 games as Forest lose out again. Aina has been robbed by Ahmed Hodzic. Here is Harmer coming forward again on the far side, the right. Infield to Arblaster. And now Brooks. And Sheffield United do have a couple of young players learning some very harsh lessons in the Premier League at the moment, but that may do them some good in the long term when they head back down to the Championship. Robinson has got time to bring it forward now to find Osborne. And Brooks again challenged by Yates, and now he's had his pocket picked and Forest can break. Wood looks to play it wide towards Hudson-Odoi. Danilo was onside and in space ahead of him, but it slipped further forward to Alanga inside the penalty area, left hand side, no real support inside, so he goes back towards Hudson-Odoi and now square towards Gibbs-White. He hits one from long range, right-footed, and it's harmlessly high and wide.
Yeah, I think they'd be quite happy, Sheffield United, if these Nottingham Forest players this occasion, Morgan Gibbs-White shooting from 30 yards out. I don't think he's really going to threaten that Sheffield United goal, because initially they got themselves into a really good position, and Alanga making a run over to that left hand side, easy ball to put into the box. You just needed those willing runners, but I think at times you can see they want to play in front of Sheffield United, then at the last moment make that run. You've got to try and get away from your marker. Look, they've got themselves back on level terms, but I think they've got to come out in the second half, Nigel. I think they've got to control themselves a little bit. They look really nervy at times.
Well, only 1 win in 10 for Forest, and it's now only 1 clean sheet in 25 games, but 23 of their previous 25 games have been decided by a single goal margin or been drawn, and they've had 11 single goal losses this season, 6 of them by 3-2.
Yeah,
and we could have another one here.
Well, exactly, yeah. I mean, the floodgates could open, couldn't they, when you think about the chances we've had so far, and the record against sides that have just been promoted from the Championship isn't great either. I think it's 1 in 19 they've won, so I'm sure this group of players are not thinking about that, but it's amazing when these stats come around how many times it seems to happen.
And we have 2 minutes of added time to play in the first half here, as many of the home fans head downstairs to the concourses. And I would probably think, in terms of the home support, it's their lowest crowd of the season here. The top tier of the Bramall Lane end away to our left-hand side is less than half full. Also plenty of empty seats in the Kop, and also in the John Street stand on the far side, as Osborne plays it forward looking for Archer, and it's cut out by a sliding Montiel.
Just been pulled back a little bit there, hasn't he, Osborne? Tried to play the right ball down the flanks to Cameron Archer, where I think he looks best on that half turn, because there's no doubt about it, he's got the pace to get in behind this back line of Nottingham Forest.
Osborne again from the throw-in, back towards Robinson, and the ball from Archer only finds Yates, and Alanga finding Gibbs-White. Hudson-Odoi was screaming for the ball in space on the left. He eventually gets it now from Aina, and he can come forward. Chris Wood waits in the centre. Wood now makes the run towards the near post, but Hudson-Odoi goes square to Yates, 30 yards from goal, wide towards the right-hand side of Montiel, further forward to Alanga, but Alanga gets the cross all wrong, a complete miskick, stubbed his toe possibly, and it dribbles out of play at the near post.
Well, I think that sums up his performance, Alanga, in this first half. I think he's not been at it. He looks really sloppy. When you expect him to be showing you the quality in that final third, it's just not been there. He's made some decent enough runs, but his quality has to be putting great balls into the box for Chris Wood just to knock it into the back of the net. Don't think he's made one, Nigel. I've got to be completely honest with you. And he's complaining that he's not getting enough ball, or players are not making the right runs. He needs to have a look at himself before anybody else in his team.
Well, they've got a big centre forward who's shown some decent form in the second half of the season, but you've got to give him the ball.
Yeah. No, 100%. You know, if that's the way you want to play, but they have not done it.
But that's half-time, and it's been a really good game here at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United have shown some real spirit, and plenty of enterprise, taking the lead. Ben Brereton Diaz, fouled by Gonzalo Montiel, picked himself up and dispatched the penalty after 17 minutes. At that point, Forest looked to be really rocking. Cameron Archer had a great chance to make it 2-0, but they hauled themselves back into the game on 27 minutes. Callum Hudson-Odoi with a terrific right foot shot wide on the left hand side, high over the head of Wes Foderingham, who had no chance. But since then, Sheffield United have created so many opportunities. Matt Sells made a couple of fine saves. Cameron Archer managed to hammer the ball into the ground and over the top from inside the 6-yard area. And at the other end, just before half-time, Chris Wood saw his header come back off the crossbar. We can expect more goals. Half-time, Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 1.
Thank you very much, Nigel. Adderley, Mickey Gray alongside him. And Mickey, it's kind of hard to believe that it's only 1-1 at half-time, but a very entertaining first half.
I absolutely loved it. Really enjoyed that first half of football. Didn't really want it to end, I've got to tell you, John, but how it's only 1-1 is beyond me. I mean, you don't see opportunities like that week in, week out in the Premier League, and you know, in the key moments and key times, have they got the quality in the final third? And I'm talking about both sides here, because Sheffield United should have scored 4 goals. And then you could add Bogle's opportunity, Gustavo Hamer's shot from the edge of the 18-yard box, which was well saved. Chris Wood in the first minute, some massive opportunities in the game. Well, maybe this is why we've got 2 sides in front of us who find themselves at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, looking at those chances there, you say from both sides. Chris Wood had a couple there. You'd normally expect Chris Wood to get an opportunity and put it away, but in the last few games, he's missed a few obvious ones there. When you talk about Anthony Elanga, it seems to me that everything he's tried has not really worked out there. Do you think that's something that Nuno might look at half-time, with Gio Reyna having started the last game in that position?
Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't think he'll change it quite at half-time, but I think he's got about 10 minutes to try and book his ideas up. You expect more from Elanga because we know he's got the quality. He's a real threat when he gets into that 1v1 situation, but at times when he's had the chance to put the ball in the box, he's made the wrong decision. He's tried to play it towards the edge of the box and he's given the ball away. He's kicked the ball out of play on 2 occasions with no pressure on him. And I just think it's a performance that you see from a player who can't wait for the season to finish. Yeah,
one of them Forest fans might liken to something that Moussa Diakhaby did a few years ago that Forest fans have never forgotten. Great position, no one around him, kicked it out of play for no apparent reason. Murillo at the back for Forest, he saved them a couple of times there. It seems like he's not going to be a player that will probably be at the City Ground, whether they're in the Premier League or the Championship next season.
He's been brilliant. I mean, that last-ditch challenge on Cameron Archer was absolutely outstanding. It really was. He had to time it perfectly. He did that. Give his goalkeeper a little bit of a respite, but he obviously gave him a thump as he was going through to as well Sells. But on 2 occasions, just being in the right place at the right time, and that's all about concentration, and full credit to him for that.
When you look at what's going on in the other game, the important game, Burnley 3-0 down at home to Newcastle at half-time, as a player, would you ever imagine your manager would use that to spur the players on, knowing that Burnley have been creeping up and seemingly fairly quietly into potentially getting out of the bottom 3 when everyone had written them off? Would you use that and say, look, this is our best opportunity now, we have 3 games, we've got Chelsea coming up next, this is where we need 3 points?
Well, you just get it done as quick as you possibly can, and I'm sure that will come up in conversation in that dressing room at half-time, to say one of your rivals at the bottom of the table are losing 3-0 at home. Let's go out and get this job done in the second 45 minutes. They know there's going to be chances in this game, but their concentration, certainly defensively, barring Murillo, has to be a lot better.
Yeah, thank you very much. Mickey Gray will be back alongside Nigel Adderley for second half commentary for me. Ryan Yates is an important player for Forest. You know, he's Forest through and through. He's just celebrated 200 appearances for the club. He's going to have a big part to play in that second half. That will come up very, very soon. But first, let's look ahead to tonight's Premier League action with Now Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Man City vs Wolves live today, contract free with a Now Sports membership. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Well, earlier on, Arsenal beat Bournemouth 3-0, which gives them a 4-point lead at the top of the Premier League table. But Manchester City have 2 games in hand there, and they take on Wolverhampton Wanderers in Manchester in the 5:30 kickoff. Cameron Pope will keep us across that one on TalkSport, and he joins us now. Could this be a potential slip-up for Manchester City today? Wolves have somehow pulled results from nowhere before.
Well, remember, Wolves were the first team this season in the Premier League to inflict a defeat on Manchester City if you go back to September. So, well, it's certainly not too far-fetched. City have to respond to Arsenal's win over the Cherries earlier. As you said, the gap now stands at 4 points in favour of the Gunners, who have a goal difference better by 10 to 2 games in hand for City, one of which comes here at 5:30. So Pep will be wary of what went on at the start of the season, but you've got to remember as well, his side come into this in good shape after a rare midweek off. 3 wins on the bounce since their Champions League exit against Real Madrid. They've not conceded on that run, and what's more, the initial murmurings about team news this week were positive. Phil Foden and Ruben Dias missed the win over Forest last Sunday due to illness, but they're said to be available, while Edison has also recovered after he was forced off at half-time due to injury. Erling Haaland too should be fit to start. We'll find out definitively in about 32 minutes' time. For Wolves, boss Gary O'Neill is serving a 1-game touchline ban after his actions following the loss to West Ham last month. Tommy Doyle can't play against his parent club, but Pedro Neto, Jean-Ric Bellegarde and Santiago Bueno should be fit to return. This one comes slightly too early for Mario Lemina. So, the title race continues. Man City v Wolves, updates from 5:30.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Cameron. That was a look ahead to this afternoon's Premier League action. Don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action, like Manchester City versus Wolves, live today, contract free with a Now membership. Just search Now Sports.
Stay ahead of the game on Talksport 2 with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Man City versus Wolves live today, contract free with a Now Sports membership. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
You're listening to Game Day exclusive here on Talksport 2, live from Bramall Lane. Second half action of Sheffield United versus Nottingham Forest is coming up next. And we'll also bring you the half-time scores from across the Premier League and the EFL.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the EFL. Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Rent from the best lineup in the UK. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
When the kids eat us out of house and home, we just eat groceries from Sainsbury's.
Yeah, shopping's here! Give me those! I see them now!
When do they leave home?
Get Sainsbury's Asda and Co-op delivered for free. For groceries and everything else.
Did somebody say Just Eat?
Participating stores, a minimum spend applies. Other charges apply. Subject to availability. See justeat.co.uk for details.
Uno is now available in McDonald's Happy Meal. So let's see who can shout Uno first.
Bring it on.
Yes. Ooh, no! A wild card. Right. Yes, back in the game. Yes. Ooh, no! Draw one card.
Uno. Better luck next time.
Have fun with your Uno cards. Does that one count?
Nope.
Oh, some fun, some food. It's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 7th of May from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. Uno range comprises toys only, while stocks last.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
The Screwfix Bank Holiday event is now on. Make the most of the extra day off with unmissable deals. Like £30 off the Mountfield self-propelled petrol lawnmower. Now just $249.99. And save £10 on the DeWalt T-Stack tool storage system. Now only $19.99. Shop bank holiday deals now. On the app at screwfix.com or in-store. Delivery fees may apply. Prices valid until May 6. Subject to availability. See screwfix.com for full T's and C's.
Hope there won't be any VAR delays today. Heard that rumour about their striker.
Can't wait to see what the pundits make of that booking. Looking forward to the match report on this one. When it comes to football, never miss a story. Get the best news, opinion, interviews and gossip at thesun.co.uk. For the football lowdown every day, it's thesun.co.uk.
Game Day exclusive on Talksport 2 with Now. Stream all the Sky Sports action like Man City versus Wolves live today, contract free with a Now Sports membership. Search Now Sports, 18 plus, stream via internet, terms apply.
Talksport 2, official broadcast partner of the Premier League and the English Football League.
This is Game Day. Halftime classifieds.
You're listening to Talksport 2. Let's get the half-time classified then, starting in the Premier League.
Premier League.
a result that sends Arsenal 4 points clear at the top until later on, at least. 3-0 against Bournemouth. At half-time, it's Brentford 0, Fulham 0, Burnley 0, Newcastle 3, and here at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 1, with Manchester City against Wolves at 5:30.
Sky Bet Championship.
Well, it was the final day of the Championship earlier, and we now know that Ipswich will play Premier League football next season thanks to a 2-0 victory over Huddersfield. That result sends their opponents down, while Birmingham will also join Huddersfield in League One next season. That's despite them beating Norwich 1-0. It was a nervy one down at Plymouth. They stayed up thanks to a 1-0 win against Hull, and Blackburn secured their future in the second tier with a 2-0 win over at champions Leicester. Sheffield Wednesday also stayed up after getting past Sunderland 2-0, and that all means that Leeds will have to settle for the playoffs after losing 2-1 to another playoff team, Southampton, and West Brom will join them. After a solid 3-0 win against Preston, they jumped above Norwich in the final standing. So the playoffs will be Southampton versus West Brom and Leeds versus Norwich.
Sky Bet League One.
Well, the first leg of the semi-final will come up later on here on Talksport 2. Another exclusive game here. It's Oxford United versus Peterborough. 7:45 kickoff. That's after Bolton beat Barnsley 3-1 last night in the other semi. So what a final day in the Championship we had. If you missed it, Ipswich have achieved back-to-back promotions. They will play in the Premier League for the first time in 32 years after their 2-0 win over Huddersfield, while Birmingham's 1-0 win over Norwich was not enough to save them from relegation down to the third tier. Here's how it all unfolded with us here on Talksport 2.
And we are underway on the Championship's final day on Talksport 2. Goal at Ellen Road. Talksport 2's Mark Wilson.
It's Leeds United 0, Southampton 1.
Well, that will soon drift around the stands here at Portman Road.
It's the equaliser. Joel Perrault fires in from the edge of the area.
Chaplin at the edge of the D finds Burns in space. Where's Burns? Light the blue touch paper. Goal at the Stadium of Light. Talksport's Graham Courtney.
And it could be the one that actually guarantees future football in the Championship for Sheffield Wednesday. It's Leeds 1, Southampton 2, and it's Will Smallbone who's sucked in from close range. And this is great for Sheffield Wednesday. It's Sunderland 0, Wednesday 2.
It's Plymouth Argyle 1, Hull City 0. It's Moat against Woodman, and he puts it into the left-hand corner, and West Bromwich Albion have the advantage they crave.
Hutchinson skips away from Kazumu up to the edge of the area. Shot! Goal! Amari Hutchinson!
And it's a big goal for Birmingham City. Birmingham 1, Norwich City 0.
Leicester 0, Blackburn 1. Sammy Smonic's the hero.
And the full-time whistle is blown, and Plymouth Argyle are in the Championship for next season. And there goes the full-time whistle, a smattering of boos, some applause, but Birmingham are down. Their relegation to League One is confirmed.
And there it goes! Ipswich Town are back in the Premier League after a generation away. The Suffolk side have made it.
Ipswich's last game in the top flight was in 2002, 22 years ago, and after their promotion was sealed, Ian Danter spoke to the jubilant Ipswich captain, Sam Morsey.
Many congratulations. Is this the best day of your career as a player?
Yeah, definitely. Something we've worked really hard for, and unbelievable, really. Can't really put it into words right now.
And the day couldn't have gone any better for you, could it?
I know. We played really well. We scored a few. Possibly could have scored more. Really good performance. So yeah, great day.
Can you put into context what this means to have achieved what you've done, back-to-back promotions?
Incredible, really. Back-to-back, and especially the teams we've competed with. We've competed with some great teams. So to get it over the line, yeah, amazing.
Well, you're the skipper. You must be so proud of this group of players that you lead.
Yeah, really proud. Phenomenal group, phenomenal club support, and yeah, an amazing day.
One hell of a party on the way then, I imagine.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone will enjoy themselves, and rightfully so.
So Ipswich join Leicester City in the Premier League next season. The playoffs will take place, the first leg on Sunday, the 12th of May. That's next Sunday. Norwich against Leeds and West Bromwich Albion against Southampton. Both of those games live across the Talksport network. Here at Bramall Lane at half-time, Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 1. The second half starting very shortly. But Mickey, just before we come back to you for commentary, what about Ipswich Town? What a story that's been. Back-to-back promotions, back in the top flight.
Absolutely incredible achievement. Kieran McKenna and his players deserve all the plaudits that are coming their way, and they are going to have a brilliant summer, and then all the hard work starts again, and they're going to enjoy every single moment of being back in the Premier League.
Amazing stuff. Well, Mickey Gray is our commentator here at Sheffield United versus Nottingham Forest. It's 1-1 at half-time, and talking you through the action alongside Mickey, it's Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, John. And Forest are about to get the second half underway in dark blue and orange away kit, playing towards their supporters in the Bramall Lane end of this stadium. Sheffield United in their red and white stripes and black shorts. And they still have one more home game to come here against Spurs on the final day. They travel to Everton next week, which a few weeks ago looked like being a big game, particularly for Everton, but of course the Toffees are now safe and the Blades are down. But they've shown plenty of heart in the first half here, and some quality as well, although it's just been lacking at the sharp end, Mickey Gray.
Yeah, it has, and I'm sure that was brought up in the half-team talks from both sides, let's be honest with you. But I think what's at stake for Nottingham Forest, the away side, knowing what's happening at Turf Moor with Burnley, there has to be more intent in that final third.
Yeah, Burnley 3 goals down against Newcastle, and Forest here with the opportunity to move 5 points clear of them and take out the potential jeopardy of the game on the final day at Turf Moor. I mean, Burnley were relegated against Newcastle a couple of years ago, and if they lose that game heavily, it will feel like relegation today.
Yeah, it certainly will, and I mean, you know, they've got a lot of work to do in that second half as well, haven't they, Nigel? There's no two ways about that, but Nottingham Forest got a point at the moment. You do not want to be going into that final day of the season knowing that the destiny's pretty much not in your hands. You've got to try and get the job done as quick as you possibly can, which is why they've just got to give absolutely everything in this second 45 minutes and try and see this game out with a win.
Sheffield United looking to build on the far side, but Osborne was closed down by Gibbs-White, but the Blades quickly win it back. And here is Harmer coming forward now down the left, and he skips away from the challenge of Montiel, plays the low ball into the penalty area, looking for Archer, cleared away by Murillo, but Arblaster will recover here for Sheffield United. Square to Brooks. He's got the option wide of him on the left-hand side of Osborne. He can now deliver a cross into the penalty area, but instead goes back to Robinson. A ball down the line, left-hand side for Andre Brooks, who will try and go beyond Yates towards the byline, but Yates does well to stand firm and then juggles the ball briefly by the corner flag to give him the elevation to hook the ball clear. Robinson's headed back towards the edge of the penalty area, was then cleared hurriedly by Bowley, and then the eventual challenge from Alanga on the player on the far side, Osborne, will result in a throw-in for Sheffield United.
Yeah, a bit disappointed, wasn't it, from Andre Brooks? I think he could have got his head up a little bit quicker. I think he could have probably said that maybe 2 or 3 times in the first half as well. He is learning in the big league, Nigel. I think you mentioned that. You know, there's no hiding place out there. He's got to show better quality.
Long throw into the penalty area from Osborne. It's flicked on by Ahmed Hodzic and cleared away initially. Then Danilo will guide the ball further to safety. A high ball from Ahmed Hodzic back towards the edge of the penalty area. Then leaping is Arblaster in the aerial duel, but it breaks for Chris Wood. Wood, though, losing out to Arblaster. Excellent recovery challenge from him. Now Robinson on the far side. Arblaster in field to Ahmed Hodzic. And here is Bogle. And Bogle continues his run down the line. And then comes in field beyond Aina. And Sheffield United have started the second half well here. Ahmed Hodzic into Brereton Diaz. And then Harmer with another ball forward for Ahmed Hodzic, who then goes down as he was challenged by Murillo. He hammers the ball into the Tony Curry stand on this near side, and it will be a throw-in to Sheffield United. Reminder of their team again: Fodringham in goal, the back three of Robinson, Trusty and Ahmed Hodzic, Bogle, Brooks, Harmer and Arblaster in midfield, with Osborne supporting Brereton Diaz and Archer from the left-hand side, as it's cleared away by Danilo on this near side. And then Wood was dragged to the ground by Trusty, but nothing given by Chris Kavanagh. Bogle with a terrific run into the penalty area, tries to curl it left-footed, but gets underneath it, and it's high over the top.
Well, whatever Chris Wilder has said to his players at half-time, it's certainly working. You want a reaction, you want to come out, you want to take the game to Nottingham Forest. Well, they're certainly doing that, albeit they've just probably had the best opportunity of the second half through Bogle down this right-hand side. Good play, just keeping the ball alive, not giving Forest a second on the ball, which is exactly what the manager wants.
Now Aina coming forward, the nutmeg on Ahmed Hodzic, and he was taken out by the Bosnian, and the referee Chris Kavanagh this time has given the free kick.
I think he's given it for the initial foul as well, hasn't he, now? Just gone back a little bit further than that second challenge that came in from Ahmed Hodzic. But good play again down the left-hand side, and he's just trying to get his players going a little bit in this second half. They come out a little bit flat. Yes, it's early doors in the second half, but as I said before, they've got to try and take the game to Sheffield United when they get their opportunities.
5 minutes played. 1-1 here at Bramall Lane on Talksport 2. Gibbs-White with the free kick. High to the far post. It's played back by Alanga into the penalty area, nodded down by Bowley. Yates with the volley! And Ryan Yates has scored for Nottingham Forest. And how crucial could that be in their quest for safety? And it's the local boy, made good, Ryan Yates, who hammers the ball in, and Sheffield United fall behind. It's the 99th goal they've conceded this season, and there was some flaky defending to go with that. 2-1 to Forest.
Well, all they've done basically, Nottingham Forest, it's their first attack in this second half, is just keep the ball alive. Brereton Diaz is going absolutely crazy with Chris Kavanagh. He thinks he's shoved at the back post when this ball comes into the box, and I do actually think there's a little bit of contact, but not enough. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the players in the 18-yard box can switch off, which is exactly what's happened. Osborne gets away from his marker Yates, and Yates is not going to miss from there. It sits up perfectly on a volley for him, right foot, and he's going to fire that into the back of the net. Perfect start for the away side to get themselves in front.
Well, there was a check and the goal's been given. Ryan Yates with his first of the season. What a time to score it. And Forest lead 2-1, 7 minutes into the second half. A reminder of their team again. Sells in goal. The back four is Montiel, Murillo, Bowley and Aina. Danilo and Gibbs-White in midfield, along with Yates, with Alanga and Hudson-Odoi supporting Wood in attack. And it's Ryan Yates who has come up with the goal.
Well, we've just seen a replay of it again, Nigel, as that ball comes into the box. And look, there's contact with Brereton Diaz, but is there enough for him to go to ground? Not in my book. I think you've got to be stronger there. But we talked about those opportunities that Sheffield United missed in the first half. And if you don't capitalise, you get punished in the Premier League. And that's exactly what's happened. Now they've got to go and chase the game.
Now Willie Bowley body checks Ollie Arblaster on this near side that it will be a free kick. Forest have come from behind to lead, and if it stays like this, it will only be the second time they've managed that in 22 scenarios this season. They've not won away since Boxing Day at Newcastle. I'm sure they will have looked at this game and maybe targeted it as a key game, a game they could win away from home. They've only had 3 successes and 36 on the road since promotion back to the Premier League. But with Burnley losing and Forest winning, it will not quite be over in the relegation picture today, but Forest will go a long way towards safety. Now Bogle coming forward for Sheffield United. Loses out to Aina. And the next goal Sheffield United concede this season will be the 100th. Wood on towards Gibbs-White, but he was never going to get there before Robinson, who clears the ball away. Now Danilo back towards the halfway line, and Aina. 8 minutes into the second half here on Talksport 2. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Forest won 2-1 right at the start of the season when Chris Wood scored in the final moments at the City Ground. They've not doubled Sheffield United for 20 years. Sells slips as he clears long downfield, but he still finds Wood. Wood then fouls Ahmed Hodzic as they both fight for the second ball, and it will be a free kick for Sheffield United.
Well, the away side now have just got to settle themselves down, keep a calm nerve for as long as they possibly can when they get their opportunities, because I'm sure there's going to be more in this game. They've got to try and make them count, because a 1-goal deficit at the moment just feels like it's not enough, Nigel. I don't know if you're in the same boat as me, but it's such an open game, and the chances that Sheffield United had in that first half, they've just got to keep knocking on the door, and I'm sure they will do, because Chris Wilder will expect that from his players.
But will the Blades crumble again? It's now 10 games in a row in which they've conceded at least 2 goals. But here is Harmer coming forward, almost played the ball into Brereton Diaz. It comes back to Harmer with a low shot just wide across the goalkeeper. Sells was beaten there, and it was 6 inches wide of the far post.
What a chance. Absolutely brilliant from Harmer. You think if there's going to be another goal for Sheffield United, it's going to come from his right foot. Great ability, gets a bit of good fortune. But that shot, he does everything right. Fires it across the goalkeeper, keeps it low. Oh, he's inches away from the equalising goal.
And you're listening to Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest on Talksport 2 with Now. And don't forget that with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action like Manchester City against Wolves live today, contract free, with a Now membership. Search Now Sports. Sells clears long downfield. Trusty will rise above Wood to clear, but here is Aina. He seeks out Hudson-Odoi down the Forest left-hand side, but Ahmed Hodzic is able to clear. Harmer again, and now Bogle. And Gustavo Harmer will find Ahmed Hodzic. A good ball to find Brereton Diaz, who clips it back into the path of Arblaster. Brereton Diaz peels away to the right-hand side. The space for him to try and pick out Archer, but it's cleared away by Bowley at the near post, and it will be a throw-in to Sheffield United. Newcastle lead Burnley 4-0 at Turf Moor now. Alexander Isak has got the latest goal there, so Burnley will remain on 24 points. Nottingham Forest will move on to 29 points if it stays like this. 3 points clear of Luton, and of course we are still yet to discover what happens with the points of deduction appeal. But Forest are taking care of business at the moment without the politics. Now Bogle tries a volley, narrow angle at the near post for Sheffield United, puts it wide and gets criticism from a number of Blades fans on the cop.
Yeah, completely wrong decision there from Bogle. Good play initially from Sheffield United, working it well down the right-hand side. But Bogle, he's not even had a sighter of the goal, and he's just on the pivot, a right-foot volley. I mean, it would be a wonder goal if he gets it anywhere near the target, which he doesn't. But he's got to pull that one back towards the penalty area to give his forward players running into that box the chance of just scoring a simple tap-in.
Forest leading by 2-1 here. Earlier on Talksport, Arsenal beat Bournemouth by 3-0. 4 points clear of Manchester City, who have 2 games in hand. One of those coming up later on today against Wolves at 5:30. And we also brought you here the final day of the Championship season on the home of the EFL. The big stories at the top and bottom: Ipswich going up, Birmingham going down. And that means in this city it will be Wednesday against United in the Championship once again next season.
Yeah, I've not seen it for a few years. I mean, it's something that obviously, this city will absolutely love, but I'm sure they would have liked to have played that game back in the Premier League, Nigel. We know Sheffield Wednesday are a country mile away from that right now, but it's just not been the season that Sheffield United have expected this season. So we're going to see that Steel City derby, home and away. It's an incredible game to play, and it really is, and it's so intense. But this city needs to be, or certainly the 2 sides need to be knocking on the door of the Premier League.
All police leave, always cancelled for that game as the ball's played wide on the far side, but Yates unable to keep the ball in play. But at the moment, here's the match winner here for Nottingham Forest. 58 minutes played as Brooks takes a chance, manages to ride a challenge. Yates, I think, went down and tried to win it back, but Brooks has continued now, 50 yards downfield, wide towards Osborne. Now Brereton Diaz on the edge of the penalty area, back towards Osborne again. And Brooks is back in the game down the left-hand side for Sheffield United. As Mickey Gray was saying, it's such an open game, you wouldn't put it past either side to both score in the remaining half hour or so.
Yeah, I mean, there's no control, is there, by either side? You know, they're all having moments, 5-minute spells in the game where if they capitalise on it, they'll get themselves on the score sheet.
Now Robinson has made a mistake. One back by Gibbs-White. Here is Alanga streaking through now for Sheffield United. Back to Gibbs-White, but it was a dreadful layoff. Gave Gibbs-White no chance at all, and Gustavo Harmer will recover the ball for Sheffield United on the edge of the area, and very quickly he's up to the halfway line.
Well, I mean, how many times do I have to say it? I feel like I'm picking him over every single time he picks up the ball, but Anthony Alanga today has just not been at the races. Really poor. He's got two options there. He's the favourite. Take the shot on or pull it back to your teammate for a little tap in at the edge of the box. I mean, he just gets it all wrong completely. It's just so poor.
Harmer forward now towards Brereton Diaz in the central area. He shrugs off the challenger. Bowley wide towards Bogle. Pull back towards Archer, but the shot was straight at Sells.
Good play. Nice reaction from Sheffield United again. End-to-end football yet again. Harmer involved. That nice little ball out to the right-hand side, but when it gets pulled back there to Archer, doesn't really settle for him, does it? It's a half chance, but it is a chance.
We talk about points deductions. Sheffield United. Well, here is Hudson-Odoi coming forward now into the penalty area. Bogle has slipped. Hudson-Odoi continues and he curls it, and it hits the outside of the post. And Callum Hudson-Odoi so close to sealing the deal there.
I can't remember the last time I've seen so many open chances like this. 1v1s with goalkeepers. He does brilliantly, Hudson-Odoi. He puts his marker to ground. He's got the little curler towards that far stick. He's just got to compose himself a little bit. There's no pressure on him taking the shot. I think he has to score, Nigel. I really do. Another massive chance for the away side.
Well, Hudson-Odoi scored the equaliser from a much more difficult opportunity, but he just glanced the outside of the post there with another curler. 61 minutes played here on Talksport 2. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 2. The scoreline. More playoff football coming up at 7:45. Oxford United against Peterborough with Alex Crook and Sam Parkin. Bolton winning 3-1 at Barnsley in the other semi-final first leg last night. Now Brereton Diaz tries to fizz the ball into the feet of Archer. It was overhit. It bobbles away from Archer into the path of Sells. Double helping of Super League action tomorrow. Manchester City against Arsenal. City going for the title with Mark Wilson and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk at 2:15. Any slip up, Chelsea will try and respond at home to Bristol City. 6:45 with Joe Shannon and Jenna Scalacci. And then on Bank Holiday Monday, the League 2 playoff semi-final first legs. 3 o'clock, Crawley against Milton Keynes. 5:30, Crewe against Doncaster. Over on Talksport at 8 o'clock, Crystal Palace against Manchester United. All live and exclusive to the Talksport network over this holiday weekend. As the high-kicking Fodringham clears the ball away from outside his penalty area. And it's such an open game, Mickey, but it's two teams with really porous defences, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, they're all over the place, aren't they? Really shaky. It's so easy for forward players to make runs in behind their markers, and they've been in 1v1. I mean, I've lost count how many times. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, it's made for a great game, I have to say, because it's so open, but we're seeing a lot of mistakes. We're seeing some great football at times, but big chances. And normally when you sit at home on a night time, Nigel, and you watch Match of the Day, this would be probably one of the games that would maybe be last on, I suppose. But when you think about how many chances that we've seen in this game, it should be first.
Well, I think Brentford 0, Fulham 0 will probably be last on today.
Yeah.
On the balance of probability so far, with Newcastle 4 up at Burnley, Arsenal winning 3-0 earlier on. There will be changes for both sides coming up. McAtee for Sheffield United and Niakate for Forest will be coming on. As Brereton Diaz comes forward now for Sheffield United, fires in the shot, turned aside by Sells, and Yates will get to the rebound first.
What a save, absolutely brilliant. Hamer involved, plays in Brereton Diaz. I can't criticise him for that. Keeps it low, gets a lot of pace on it, but what a save from Sells.
Well, you can hear the home crowd get behind their team again here. 64 minutes played. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 2. 99 league goals now conceded for Sheffield United, having taken the lead thanks to a penalty from Ben Brereton Diaz.
It's a big old chance, that, isn't it? Brereton Diaz, he's never stopped running. I think he's had a really good game. Criticise him sometimes for missing opportunities, but he'll keep going until the end.
Gibbs White now finding Hudson-Odoi for Nottingham Forest. He comes in field again. Right foot curler from Callum Hudson-Odoi wins the game for Nottingham Forest, and it's 100 goals conceded for Sheffield United in the Premier League this season. That is an incredible record, and in a season of unwanted milestones, that's the biggest one around the necks of these Sheffield United players. They look disconsolate, shoulders hunched, down on their knees, one or two of them. A century of goals conceded in less than 38 games. It almost seems impossible to do it, but Sheffield United have delivered in all the wrong ways this season. And as Forest celebrate, Sheffield United contemplate defeat yet again, 3-1.
Well, it's an unwanted record that nobody wants. Player, football club, supporter, manager, I don't know who you are at Sheffield United. But at one end, they're looking to get themselves on level terms with Brereton Diaz, and we talked about how open this game is. Within the space of 30 seconds, Nottingham Forest are up the other end. Split them apart. Great play from Hudson-Odoi. They got a scare when he hit the post a few moments ago. It was a pretty similar move, to be honest with you, but this time more clinical, whipped it inside the post. It's a great finish for his second goal of the day.
Moussa Niakate will come on for Anthony Alanga, and James McAtee is also coming on for Sheffield United. I didn't see who he was going off for, to be honest, but the game has gone now, surely. And really, Mickey, when you look at the way Sheffield United defend, you can see why they've conceded 100 goals.
Yeah, no,
the season's not over yet.
Look, I mean, no, this is one of them games, Nigel, where before kick-off, I'm sure Chris Wilder said, look, let's give the supporters something to cheer before we get to the end of the season. And at times, they played some really nice football, but the vulnerability you see in front of you, and it might be down to personnel. Are they good enough for the Premier League? Possibly not. There's probably maybe one or two players out there who maybe think that they are. But I think you're looking at probably a championship squad, which is why they seem to get punished week in, week out. And the goals that they concede, I mean, at times, the side they're playing against, they don't really have to work hard for them either, do they? And 100 goals, it's just a nightmare season, isn't it?
Andre Brooks was the player who went off for Sheffield United to be replaced by James McAtee. I saw his brother last night, John, for Barnsley. They lost 3-1 as well at home to Bolton Wanderers in the playoffs. But you can see more goals here.
Yeah, you can. And look, I mentioned at the start of the game, even when Sheffield United took the lead, I said they might need more than a goal to actually win or get something from this game. Well, it's the case now, but when they're chasing another two, I just don't know if they've got that in their armour.
Well, they're giving the ball away again, quickly played forward by Gibbs White, looking for Hudson-Odoi on a hat-trick now, cutting in field again onto that right foot. Back this time to Gibbs White on the edge of the penalty area. Yates, the other goal scorer, wide towards the far side, and Montiel. And Sheffield United here look bedraggled. They really do. They've had so many opportunities in this game. They could have been 4-1 up in the first half, and now they're 3-1 down with 21 minutes to play.
Yeah, it's life in the Premier League, isn't it? You know, you think you've got the game tied up, you get yourself in front, you give yourself something to hang on to, but because of the quality that is in the Premier League week in, week out, you can't afford to keep giving top players the opportunity of 1v1s with your goalkeeper, because eventually the ball's going to find the back of the net. You're going to find yourself chasing games, and it's happened too many times with Sheffield United. You know, Chris Wilder knows that. I think he looked at this squad, he probably looked at it when he walked through the door and thought, if I can keep this team in the Premier League, it would be a minor miracle. Well, he's not been able to do that, and he knows that the hard work probably starts, Nigel, when they get to the summer.
But they gave themselves no chance because they came into this season with a weaker squad than the one they went up with.
Yeah.
And you've got to have some realism. They gave Paul Heckingbottom absolutely no chance, and then they sack him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Your two best players leave the club and they don't get replaced, or you bring in personnel maybe just to make up the numbers. Well, that's not good enough. You get away with that at times in the Championship and maybe even League One if you want to talk about that division as well. But there's no quality, is there? Bringing in Brereton Diaz has been a plus for them in January. But other than that, you're looking at Hamer. Who else would you look at in that Sheffield United starting 11 and think they deserve another year in the Premier League? Pretty much
none.
not.
I think Hamer's a decent player, but he's a decent Championship player.
Yeah.
Next season, I think he could be one of the stars in the Championship.
Yeah, but he won't be thinking that, Nigel. I know how selfish players can be, and they'll think, right, if I keep performing till the end of the season, somebody will come and pick me from this Sheffield United squad. It might not happen, but that's what players think like. Because if you think about Hamer or Harmer in a better 11, in a better squad, he might even improve more. His goal tally might get better, his assists might get better, he might improve as a player, and I'm sure that would be the case with Brereton Diaz as well. But the rest of the players, for me, Championship all day long.
20 minutes to play. Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 3 here on Talksport 2. Big day for Forest. They'll be moving 3 points clear of Luton, 5 points clear of Burnley, who are 4-0 down. The Sheffield United try and come forward now, but it sums things up in many ways for them as McAtee went beyond the challenge of Bowley, crossed it took a deflection off Bowley, back into the face of McAtee, and then behind for a goal kick. So, the Forest fans, someone's got a Lilo which they're throwing around. They wouldn't necessarily say the flip-flops are on yet. They're not quite on the beach, but they're taking up the jeopardy of that trip to Burnley on the final day at the moment.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's incredible, Nigel. At certain times you look at the stats in games and sometimes they're not worth looking at. I mean, looking at the XG of Sheffield United, which is 2.14 at the moment, and Nottingham Forest is 1.10. But they find themselves 3-1 behind. If you don't take your chances, you're going to get punished.
And you're listening to Sheffield United against Nottingham Forest on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. Throw in for Jayden Bogle on this near side. And Sheffield United are heading for their 12th home defeat of the season, their 26th overall. And they've wasted very little time in conceding 100 goals here.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? When you bounce into the Premier League as they did, you just want to kick on. Your first initial thought is, right, let's stay in the Premier League for another season. If we finish fourth from bottom, we can build on that. We can bring in a better group of players. You add to the squad that you've already got. But Chris's hands were tied when he walked through the door after Paul Heckingbottom. He was stuck with the squad that he's got, and he's just found it really hard.
Now Danilo with a step over, rides the challenge of Hamer. He's also gone beyond Robinson, and Danilo continues into the penalty area, hits it left-footed over the top. What a goal that would have been.
Yeah, well, there was no way he was going to pass that, Danilo. Great ability, lovely little step over in the centre circle. And the closer he got towards the edge of the 18-yard box, you can see he's trying to work it onto the left foot. Doesn't really set himself. Never really threatening the goal. But it's a fantastic run, showing his confidence now.
And the Brazilian Vini Souza is coming on to replace Cameron Archer for Sheffield United. And the former Flamengo player enters the fray with 17 minutes to play here, and Nottingham Forest leading by 3-1. And this will be a crucial away victory for them. And they've got Chelsea at home next week, and they could seal safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And who's to say that they can't go up against Chelsea and just get something from the game? Because winning football matches in the Premier League just gives you that little bit of belief, that little bit of confidence. 2 games to go. They know they've got to dig deep. It's going to be a tough one. Chelsea obviously showing some pretty good form at the moment, but there's a chance for them.
Ahmedhodzic has received a yellow card for taking out Hudson-Odoi from behind. Here's a scenario for you. I mean, the gap between themselves and Burnley is currently 5 points. If they get 2 points back this week, Burnley can't catch them.
Yeah, that's the scenario we'll find ourselves in, Nigel. But it's not ideal. We've said it for so long now. I think things like this need sorting out a lot quicker. We saw the situation with Everton a little bit earlier on in the season, their points deficit. It didn't seem to go away. Fortunately, they got some points back, but they've got themselves into a position where we're not really talking about Everton losing more points. It's all about Nottingham Forest at the moment, but if they do gain them, this just gets worse for Burnley, doesn't it?
Well, the crowd this afternoon has been given us 28,516. That must be tickets sold, because there is nowhere near 28,000 inside the ground. There weren't at the start of the game, and there certainly aren't now.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you there, Nigel. Normally when you walk in this stadium, it's very difficult to see some empty red seats, isn't it? But there is a lot.
Still 3-1 to Forest here, and we have 14 minutes to play on Talksport 2. Newcastle still leading Burnley by 4-0, goalless in the West London derby between Brentford and Fulham. And it's going to turn into a very good weekend for Nottingham Forest at the bottom of the table. Luton and Burnley dropping points at home, and they're about to win away. And for the latest odds, with Forest leading here 3-1, go to William Hill, the official betting partner of Talksport 2's Premier League coverage right now. You can get Sheffield United to score next at 27-10, Forest to score next at 6-4. No further goals, 6-5. All thanks to William Hill. Get epic value all season long with William Hill. 18+, begambleaware.org. Now Wood coming forward for Sheffield United over the halfway line, left-hand side. He's got Gibbs-White moving forward ahead of him, and Gibbs-White now in possession. Then he clashes with Bogle, and the free kick's been given as Gibbs-White crumples to the turf.
Cynical foul there, wasn't it, from Bogle? Gibbs-White knew exactly what he was doing, just waiting for the contact, and you can see there's the momentum of them trying to push and get that third goal. Now they've got it. They could just dictate the pace of this game. I'm sure they're going to try and chase that 4th goal. It's probably in their DNA to do that. I do think at times they'll just slow the game down. They'll take the breathers when they get their opportunity, and the more these minutes tick away, those Nottingham Forest supporters who look as if they've come in the thousands, don't they? It looks fantastic to our left-hand side.
Well, it's a real contrast. The lower tier of the Bramwell Lane end is packed out. The upper tier is very sparsely populated, and I'm sure if Forest had been offered more tickets in that top tier, they would have taken them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They've certainly come to cheer their side on, and they've got their just rewards.
Now Gibbs-White swirls in a free kick towards the near post, looking for Wood, who flicks on, and it's scrambled around the post by Foderingham, and it will be a corner kick. Clever set piece, and Chris Wood nearly capitalised.
Yeah, it was, and I think that's probably the moment that Chris Wood's waiting for. An instinct chance, really, where nobody's expecting him to get in front of his marker at the near post. He just needs to take any bit of contact, which he gets. And if it finds its way into the back of the net, I'm sure he'd gladly take it. But the chances he's missed over the last couple of weeks, he won't want reminding about.
Corner kick played in by Hudson-Odoi towards the near post. It's flicked on by Morgan Gibbs-White, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. And Forest, well, today's not really had too much of an issue on that, but the goal difference, -18, Luton's is -29, and Burnley's is -36, and it really is an extra point at this stage of the season.
Yeah.
So Burnley would need to be 1 point ahead of them to really try and take advantage of the final day, and that's not going to happen because they're currently 5 points behind them.
Yeah, and that goal difference, I mean, at the moment, it doesn't really look like it's going to come into play, does it? But I I think it's a real let-off for everybody at the bottom of the table. I mean, that performance at Newcastle, I mean, we haven't seen it, but conceding 4 goals, it feels like it's just been all Newcastle. And when you're at the bottom of the table and you're fighting for your lives, that's not the result the home side wanted at Turf Moor.
The relegation picture could be sorted out next week, but that may depend on the appeal against the points deduction. We'll have to wait and see. Now McAtee coming forward for Sheffield United, infield from the right-hand side with his socks rolled down around his ankles, looks to find Brereton Diaz, but Forest will clear, and it's hammered all the way down towards Fodringham at the other end with 10 minutes to play. Nuno, I think, is pondering more changes, but I'm sure he'll just be looking for his team to manage the remainder of this game with a 3-1 lead.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Well, 11 minutes of normal time. You can see Hudson-Odoi's just dropped in a little bit on that right-hand side. Hudson-Odoi over on this left. I don't think you'll see them making those forward runs unless it's, you know, it's obvious and you can make those runs if there's nobody there. But they're just sitting in. They're making it difficult for Sheffield United now to break them down. Oh, I have to say, I've been a little bit disappointed in his second half. They got Brereton Diaz and Archer involved a lot in that first 45 minutes. Hardly had a kick really in the second half. Couple of chances, couple of well-saved chances from Harmer and Brereton Diaz, but other than that, I'm looking around thinking, where's that performance? Where's the game changer? I've not seen him out there.
Brereton Diaz has kept working, and you can see a potential long-term Premier League striker in Brereton Diaz, definitely.
Yeah. No, I've got to agree with that, Nigel. No, I think his work ethic's fantastic. I've seen it a lot when he was in Blackburn Rovers colours, and he's not going to stop running. He's got that in his DNA, but it's can he get the goals week in, week out in a Premier League that are going to keep a side in there for more than one season.
But put him alongside a good goal scorer and he could have real value because he can play wide as well.
Absolutely, yeah. When you think about Armstrong, who was at Blackburn with, who got a lot of goals when he was there, Sam Gallagher, he got himself into double figures. You know, they've had the players alongside him, but I don't know if who they got injured. McBurney, I don't know if that's the answer. It needs somebody better than that.
Here's an opportunity now for Vinny Souza to hit one from the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, and it's a couple of yards wide. Harry Toffolo coming on now for Nottingham Forest, and Gonzalo Montiel, the player he will replace. So Toffolo will slot in down the left-hand side. His former club Huddersfield, their relegation from the Championship was confirmed today. They lost at Ipswich, who were promoted. Leeds lost anyway at home to Southampton. All the action played out on Talksport 2 earlier. So Ipswich and Leicester both in the Premier League next season. The playoffs will be Leeds against Norwich, Southampton against West Brom, with Birmingham, Huddersfield and Rotherham all going down, but 7 of the bottom 8 all won on the final day. But for many of them, it was too little too late.
Yeah, it certainly was. But what a season it has been for all those Championship sides. It's felt like it's gone to the final minute of every single game, and that was the case today. It was just edge of the seat stuff, wasn't it? Top and bottom, and to sort out the playoffs as well, and we're not finished yet.
Both the playoff semi-final first legs will be live on Talksport next Sunday. Norwich Leeds at 12 and West Brom against Southampton at 2:15. The second leg at Leeds will be a week on Thursday, and a week on Friday the second leg at St Mary's.
Try and pick a win out of them.
Well, it'll be very interesting. Leeds on a slump with no momentum, going back to Daniel Farke's former club.
Yeah, it's
and although Norwich lost today, second half of the season they've been terrific.
Yeah, they have, and obviously they'll have the tails up Southampton. Haven't getting that win against Leeds United today, just giving them that little bit of confidence going into the playoffs. So, take your pick. It's going to be so tough.
West Brom also winning today, although at the moment beating Preston is seemingly not too much of a challenge. As Toffolo comes forward now on this near side. Now Hudson-Odoi back to the halfway line, and Niakate, and we have 6 minutes to play here. Gibbs-White in towards Wood, but it doesn't quite break. Back towards Gibbs-White. Trusty will clear. And now Arblaster rides the challenge of Yates on the halfway line, charging forward down the centre, tries to find Brereton Diaz to his left, but the ball was overhit, and the home crowd are grumbling here, and it will be a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I think Arblaster's done brilliant initially. He got that challenge from behind from Ryan Yates. I don't know if he's picked up a yellow card, but he should have actually got one for the challenge. He stayed on his feet. But when you need to settle yourself and compose, just to play that ball down the line to Brereton Diaz, there's just too much pace on it. You can see he's stumbling all the way. But when he composes himself, you can see why these Sheffield United supporters are going crazy. And I'm just looking to the right now, Nigel. There's a lot of them leaving now.
Yeah, they've seen enough. They've seen the 100th goal go in today, the 54th here at Bramall Lane. 54 in 18 home games.
Too many, way too many.
Yeah, just a bit. Now Brereton Diaz, forward towards McAtee. Arblaster, wide to the far side, and Osborne. And Sheffield United here in the second half. They've really wilted. They've been caught out on the break a couple of times as Toffolo plays it forward looking for Wood, but Trusty is able to chest the ball down and clear.
Yeah, again, just getting themselves back into position. This Forest midfield making it hard for Sheffield United.
But here's an opportunity for Brereton Diaz, but fires in the shot, blocked by Murillo, and the rebound goes back off Brereton Diaz behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, a little bit frustrated there, Brereton Diaz. I think he wanted that played a little bit slow into him so he could just whip it with his right foot. Good play from Hamer. What did you see there? He's taking it with his weaker foot, Brereton Diaz. He's got to kind of get his shot away pretty quickly. Done well to get it behind Forest. But if it's a little bit slower, he can work it onto his right foot, curl it into the far post. But it's that end product just not being there.
4 minutes to play. This only the second Premier League season that these two clubs have played together. And the previous time was the first one, 92-93. And Sheffield United won 2-0 at the City Ground 31 years ago this weekend. And it was Brian Clough's final home game in charge of Nottingham Forest. On that day, the Blades sealed their safety and Forest were already relegated. Similar scenario in reverse here this afternoon.
Yeah, it certainly is. Touching on Nottingham Forest, I have to say Hudson-Odoi, I think he's been outstanding today. I really do. Been clinical in front of goal, maybe could have had a hat-trick. He's already hit the post. I think he should have actually put the ball in the back of the net, but he's forward running and his intensity's been absolutely first class.
Aina cuts out a poor ball, steps away from two challengers, finds Gibbs White charging into the penalty area, pulled back to Hudson-Odoi. He goes down inside the penalty area, appeals for a penalty, nothing given by Chris Kavanagh.
Hudson-Odoi for me, Gibbs White has got to be a little bit more selfish in that position. He's tried to be cute to play in Hudson-Odoi, but I think he needs to take the shots on. I really do. Good play, but it's too easy for Forest to break down Sheffield United now.
Brereton Diaz from a quickly taken free kick. He's been caught by Niakate. The free kick was given. Bogle went quickly to find Brereton Diaz, and Niakate fouled him for a second time in a matter of moments.
Yeah, and again, Chris Kavanagh just waving players away. Maybe he's thinking, look, it's the end of the season. I don't want to keep giving yellow cards out willy-nilly. But it looked a certain foul and a yellow card to me, because Brereton Diaz just homing in towards that 18-yard box. You can see his frustration. I mean, they're getting a chance now from this wide free kick, but he wanted the first one, not the second.
Taiwo Awonyi will be on shortly for Nottingham Forest, along with Nicolas Dominguez. Free kick on this near side for Sheffield United. Gustavo Hamer will take it. Flighted in, high to the far post, nodded clear by Niakate. And then Osborne lumps it wide towards this near side again. And Hamer will try and go beyond Danilo, and he's managed to do that down the right. High cross to the far post, and the looping header is wide in the end from Robinson.
Yeah, it kind of sums up their second half, really, doesn't it? Good play again from Harmer, beating his man, put a decent enough ball into the box. That didn't really have enough pace on it, to be honest with you. Robinson it's a leap, and then he has to get the power in the header. He's not able to do it. He's not able to direct it towards that goal. And you see Nuno Espirito Santo making another couple of changes now. He knows the hard work's done in this game. He can make those changes, give his players a little bit of respite, and start to concentrate on that huge game against Chelsea next time out.
Callum Hudson-Odoi coming off, so no hat-trick for him, and no goal either for Chris Wood. Taiwo Awoniyi will go up top with Nicolas Dominguez coming in on the left-hand side.
Nice to see Awoniyi back, isn't it? He's had his injury problems, but there's no doubt he can cause a threat. And going into those final 2 games of the season, you want as many players as fit as you possibly can, and he certainly makes the squad better, doesn't he?
Yep, first appearance since March the 10th here, and he's got 10 seconds plus whatever added time we have at the end of the game. Sam Allardyce, the 4th official, is coming up with the board now, and there will be a minimum of 5 more minutes.
Well, what do you do as your Sheffield United player now? I said to try and give your home support something to cheer before they actually leave this stadium, Nigel, but there ain't too many of them left, I've got to say.
They are filing out in their thousands from the Kop, behind the goal away to our left. McAtee coming forward now down the left, high in towards Brereton Diaz, but it's a hopeful ball in, and it's claimed by Sells.
As the seconds, not minutes, as the seconds go by, you can see, I mean, they're just flat now, aren't they? Nottingham Forest have done their job. They've dictated this second 45 minutes. They've looked the better team. They came out with more intention in the second half. They've got the goals to boot as well, and I think Nuno will be a very, very happy man.
Dara O'Shea has pulled the goal back for Burnley, but they still trail at home to Newcastle 4-1. Damaging day for them. They'll be 5 points behind Forest, 5 points away from safety. Luton, of course, will be 3 points adrift of Forest, and they've got the job done here, coming from behind, and this will be their first victory away from home since Boxing Day, when they also came from behind to win at Newcastle in Nuno's first game in charge.
They've not done it many times this season, but when it counts, that's the time when you've got to come from behind, you've got to dig deep and work hard. And they've certainly done that today, and you can imagine what the City Ground is going to be like against Chelsea, their last home game of the season. My goodness.
Well, hopefully by then they will know what's going on with the points deduction, as Niakate is having problems inside the penalty area, but he manages to evade Bogle and then clip it down the line. Awoniyi, though, shrugged to the ground by Trusty, but in fairness to Trusty, Awoniyi had hold of his shirt as well, and we've played 2 minutes of added time. Ahmed Hodzic, though, gives it straight to Danilo, and Gibbs White still full of running right at the end of this game. Awoniyi stops to give Gibbs White the opportunity to move forward. Now Aina, he takes a shot, it takes a deflection off the back of Osborne right across the penalty area. Dominguez will try and win it back. Ahmed Hodzic, though, will run the ball straight out of play, and it will be a throw into Forest with 2.5 minutes of added time played.
Well, Ahmed Hodzic, he just caught in two minds, wasn't he, whether to clear his lines. The ball was spinning, his first touch wasn't good enough, it just springed off his shin, ended up going out for a throw-in, and there's no rush in these throw-ins now from Forest. They're just going to try and play it out, take as much time as they possibly can.
Toffolo takes the throw-in, and then Dominguez goes down, but nothing given, and I think the Sheffield United players just want to drag themselves off the field here. They've got one more home game to come against Spurs on the final day. They go to Everton next week, but really the big game next week at the bottom is Forest. Awoniyi now coming forward, slips as he's challenged by Trusty inside the area, and he was offside anyway.
Well, they've had a couple of little battles, haven't they, Awoniyi and Trusty. On this occasion, Trusty just got himself at the right time, didn't he? Got himself goal side, made a little bit of contact with the ball, but again, that looping ball just over the top. The back line of Sheffield United all over the place. They're basically playing and expecting somebody to score against them.
honour of scoring the 100th goal against them fell to Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now Brereton Diaz down this near side. And we are into the final minute of the 5 allocated. Brereton Diaz goes down, and then Bogle just cuts off the forward ball from Dominguez, and it will be a throw into Forest, but they know the job's done. And inside a rapidly emptying Bramall Lane. They've still got some work to do next week, but who knows? If other teams don't get the points, there's no pressure on Forest now.
Yeah, absolutely. It might be enough. I mean, they can't sit on that. I think we all know that they're going to go out in the final 2 games and they're going to give absolutely everything. But it's getting yourself into a position where you're in control of what is happening. When you're on the other side of that, like Burnley find themselves and Luton find themselves, it's not a nice place to be, Nigel. I've been at the bottom of the table in that position, and it's horrible.
Ahmed Hodzic led with the arm there on Nicolas Dominguez. He's already been booked in the game, and it's a second yellow card for Anel Ahmed Hodzic. And Sheffield United's day continues to get worse here. Ahmed Hodzic shown the red card. He led with the arm, already on a yellow card, and the Bosnian trudges down the tunnel.
And you see no reaction from Chris Wilder whatsoever. I mean, if his blood wasn't boiling already, well, it certainly is now, and that is not what you need from one of your defenders. Just silly.
And it's the final act of the game, and the Forest fans celebrate. This is a significant step towards safety for Nuno Espirito Santo and his players. But for Sheffield United, yet another record in a season of unwanted milestones. 100 goals conceded, 3 goals let in, but 3 points for Nottingham Forest means they pull clear of the bottom 3. Safety very much in their own hands now. There is pressure on others. Forest have finally won away from home for the first time since Boxing Day. And really it's no surprise that Sheffield United have been obliging hosts yet again this season. It finishes Sheffield United 1, Nottingham Forest 3.
Thank you very much, Nigel Adderley, alongside Nicky Gray there. And Nicky, I think you might have said in the first half that it normally happens to Sheffield United once they let 1 goal in, the floodgates open. We had to wait till the second half there, but Ryan Yates, a player that I singled out there, he is the kind of heart and soul, the local boy. He's got detractors, he's got fans that love him at Nottingham. He kind of divides the opinion, but he got the goal there, and after that Callum Hudson-Odoi could have had 1 and then made certain with the second opportunity he got.
Well, I have to say, Joe, I mean, relief on those shoulders of those Nottingham Forest players, but the intent that they showed in that second half, they thoroughly deserve to pick up all 3 points today. And you know, whether it comes from Yates or Hudson-Odoi, who got himself on the score sheet a couple of times today, they don't care. It's about taking your chances, and Nottingham Forest took their chances today in front of a brilliant away travelling support, I have to say, who stuck by them for the whole 90 minutes in the added on time. And what a weekend it's turned out for them. You know, the big rivals Burnley losing out to Newcastle, Luton picking up a point. And this is what it's all about. Look, it's not where they want to be, but if they've got enough points to keep them in the Premier League for another season, they can readdress the problems and they can build on that, and they can work for that going into the 24-25 season.
Yeah, Ryan Yates currently mimicking swimming to the Forest travelling fans. That's in reference to them usually jumping in the Trent. If he scores at the City Ground, they're going to have to find the largest body of water nearby to Bramall Lane and do that later on today. Matt Sells has also very quietly done a very good job at Nottingham Forest since they brought him in January. You know, they had Matt Turner there and he didn't quite live up to expectation. Also the Greek goalkeeper that started the season, and Matt Sells has kept Forest in the game in the early stages, and that's kind of laid the bedrock to this win.
Yeah, he did. 2 wonderful saves in the first half, point blank saves. Well, maybe shouldn't have been in a position to make those saves, but it was fantastic, it really was. And I love to see that, you know, from back to front. You're looking for somebody who wants to make the difference, and Sells certainly made the difference at big moments in the game today. You know, if your goalkeeper's not making saves, it's always going to be a difficult afternoon. So credit to him. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. One of Forest's better players today.
Yeah, it could all be academic, obviously, with the appeal over the points deduction. But that leaves Nottingham Forest 17th in the table, 3 points ahead of Luton Town, Burnley and Sheffield United there. Luton Town have games coming up against West Ham, away at West Ham, and then at home against Fulham on the last day of the season, while Forest play Chelsea next. Do you think Forest are going to stay up now, Mickey?
Well, it certainly looks that way, and I think from what I've just witnessed in front of me, that the fighting spirit's still there. They'll have belief after winning this game against Sheffield United. And who's to say that they can't go up against Chelsea and get something from them, and then just make that final day a little bit easier, because that's what it's all about. You want to take the pressure off your side as much as you possibly can. You don't want to think about what can be, what could have been, what should have been. It's all about the day, and they've had a brilliant weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport 2 with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
In amongst that chaos, some decent performances there. Mickey, who have you gone for?
Yeah, there was. I thought Gibbs White was excellent today, and Sells, as we just talked about there, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. But I've got to give it to Callum Hudson-Odoi. I thought his performance, even in the first half, was outstanding. A wonderful first goal, and the second one just topped up his performance. He's my man of the match.
Excellent stuff. That was our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.